Stop waiting. Just stop. Right now, while you are watching this video, there is someone out there with half your talent and half your intelligence who is lapping you. They are building the audience you want, they are making the money you deserve, and they are living the life you dream of. Why? It isn't because they are gifted. It isn't because they have a muse whispering in their ear. It is because they have a system. And you don't. You are terrified of missing out on your potential, but you are missing the most obvious truth. Creativity is not magic. It is a mechanical process. And every second you spend waiting for inspiration to strike is a second you are being left behind by the people who understand the code. The fear you feel, that nagging sense that there is a secret you're missing, is real. There is a secret. But it's not spiritual. It's structural. Today we are going to fix your broken process. We are going to stop treating art like a lottery ticket and start treating it like a blueprint. If you want to stop watching others succeed with your ideas, pay attention. The gap closes today. Let's dismantle the biggest lie you've been told. The idea that you have to create something out of nothing. This is the God complex, and it is destroying your ability to work. In the old world, people thought creativity meant summoning a unique idea from the void. But here is the reality. Nothing comes from nothing. Even the most original minds in history were just master thieves. Steve Jobs didn't invent the computer. He combined a calculator with a television screen. The printing press wasn't a new invention. It was a wine press repurposed to crush ink instead of grapes. This is what cognitive psychologists call combinatorial creativity. Think of your brain not as a hard drive where you store data, but as a blender. Your job isn't to spawn new ingredients. Your job is to mix existing ingredients in a way that tastes new. The moment you realize that originality is just undetected plagiarism, you become free. You stop staring at the blank page with anxiety, and you start looking at the world as a warehouse of spare parts. If you feel empty, it's not because you lack talent, it's because you haven't collected enough dots to connect. If your brain is a blender, we have to talk about what you are putting inside it. Most of you are starving your creativity. You scroll through 15-second clips of garbage, you consume the same content everyone else in your niche consumes, and then you wonder why your output feels generic. Garbage in, garbage out. If you want to produce elite work, you need to practice strategic gluttony. You need to become an aggressive hunter of information. But here is the trick that separates the amateur from the master. You must consume outside of your lane. If you are a filmmaker and you only watch other YouTubers, you are in an echo chamber. Your work will look like a photocopy of a photocopy. True innovation happens at the intersection of unconnected fields. The architect who studies biology designs a building that breathes. The writer who studies jazz music writes sentences that have rhythm. You need to adopt the variance protocol. For every hour you spend on your craft, spend 30 minutes studying something completely opposite. Read poetry if you code. Study logistics if you paint. You are looking for patterns that no one else has seen because no one else is looking where you are looking. There is a romantic notion that total freedom leads to better art. You tell yourself, if I just had endless time, a better camera, and no deadlines, I'd make a masterpiece. No, you wouldn't. You would drown. Total freedom is paralysis. It is the paradox of choice. If I tell you to write a story about anything, you will freeze. But if I tell you to write a story about a man who discovers he is the last person on Earth, you immediately have ideas. Constraints are not chains, they are the banks of the river. Without banks, the water is just a swamp. With banks, it becomes a force. Look at the film Jaws. The mechanical shark was broken half the time. Steven Spielberg couldn't show the monster. That constraint forced him to use music, camera angles, and water movement to imply the shark. The result? It was terrifying. Far more scary than if he had shown the rubber shark every 5 seconds. Stop complaining about your limitations. Your lack of budget, your small room, your old laptop. These are not problems. They are the friction that creates the fire. Embrace the box method. Intentionally limit your tools to force your brain to solve problems, rather than just selecting defaults. Let's talk about why your first draft sucks, and why it should suck. There is a famous parable about a ceramics teacher who divided his class into 2 groups. Group A was graded on quality. They only had to make 1 pot, but it had to be perfect. Group B was graded on quantity. They were graded solely on the weight of the pots they produced. 50 pounds of clay was an A. On the final day, a strange thing happened. The highest quality pots didn't come from the quality group. They came from the quantity group. Why? Because while Group A sat around theorizing about the perfect aesthetic, Group B was getting their hands dirty. They made 100 mistakes, they learned the clay, they improved through iteration. You are paralyzed by perfectionism. You are protecting an image of yourself as a good artist instead of doing the work of becoming one. You need to adopt the volume strategy. Your goal is not to make a hit. Your goal is to make 100 bad things as fast as possible. Get the bad ideas out of your system. Ed Sheeran writes songs daily, calling it turning the faucet on to let the dirty water flow out. Give yourself permission to be garbage. It is the only path to becoming gold. Now we approach the most uncomfortable truth. You can have the best inputs, the best constraints, and high volume, but your work can still feel sterile, dead. This happens when you filter out the human error. We are living in the age of AI. Midjourney can create a flawless image. ChatGPT can write grammatically perfect prose. If you try to compete on Polish, you will lose. The machine is faster than you. The only competitive advantage you have left is your scar tissue. True connection comes from resonance, and resonance only happens when you expose something real. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold lacquer. They don't hide the cracks, they highlight them. The flaw becomes the most valuable part of the piece. Think of the content creators you actually love. Do you love them because they are perfect? Or do you love them because they articulated a struggle you thought you were facing alone? Stop trying to be a guru. Be a guide. Authenticity isn't just being raw or ranting. It is strategic vulnerability. It is the courage to say, I don't know the answer yet, or this hurts. When you bleed in your work, the audience bleeds with you, and blood binds stronger than ink. We have built the system. Synthesize inputs, embrace constraints, prioritize volume, inject vulnerability. But a system in a vacuum is useless. Art does not exist until it is observed. You must enter the arena. Many of you are shadow creators. You write in journals nobody reads. You edit videos you never upload. You are hoarding your potential because you are afraid of the judgment. Let me liberate you with a harsh truth. Nobody cares about you. The world is noisy and self-absorbed. If you fail, nobody will remember. If you post a bad video, it will be buried in the feed in 24 hours. This indifference is your shield. It means you are free to experiment. You are free to be weird. You are free to fail in public. The cost of being wrong is small. The cost of being silent is infinite. Don't let your ideas die in the graveyard of your hard drive. Ship the work. Hit publish. The world has enough consumers. We are drowning in them. We need more architects. We need you to build. Go make something.